Hi guys, my name is Roger, and I'm building a mid-engine supercar in the basement of my home. Let's take a look at what I've been working on this week. Well, I have this parking brake actuator functioning finally, and I want to show you this. This is the switch to turn the parking brake on and off. And here on the panel you can see that the light over on the left side is turned off, showing that the parking brake is not on. If I start engaging the parking brake, you see instantly that the light comes on, showing me that the parking brake is on. That light won't go off until the brake is completely released, and that's intentional. Okay, here the parking brake is off, and to put the parking brake on, I'll hold the switch up and it will automatically stop. I'll just keep holding up and it times out and the parking brake is engaged. And then again, to release it, I'll push the button down and hold it, and it'll automatically stop when it gets to the point. Here it's showing that the parking brake is released. Now let me show you that from the back of the car so you can see exactly what's happening. Okay, here's a view looking down on the coupling here that connects. This is the cable coming back from the actuator, and these are the two cables going to each rear brake or wheel assembly. This is my limit switch for stopping. Right now the brake is off. Let me go activate that and show you the brake on and off. Okay, I'm going to turn the brake on. You can see it times out and stops when it's completely engaged. And to release the brake, it goes back until it hits the limit switch, and that is off. Alright guys, this week we managed to finish the parking brake. We got the actuator motor for the parking brake mounted and wired and everything functioning correctly. I went ahead and put the transaxle and all of the components around it back in the car, and it is, I believe, ready to drive now again, except for putting water in the radiator lines and tightening up all the radiator lines where I drained the water out. But everything here in the rear is put back together. The transaxle, the intake tubes, all of the plumbing and connections and everything seems to be back together, if I haven't missed anything. I will need to add hydraulic fluid to the clutch line and bleed it again. I had to drain it to do all of this. But other than that, that shouldn't take just a few hours to wrap up, and then we can consider the wiring for now finished, because the next thing I'm going to do in the wiring, or most of what is left anyway, is wiring the wires to the doors. And I am going to redo the doors and the door hinges. I am not happy with those. I love the way the Koenigsegg style door hinges function and look and work, but I am just not able to get enough slop out of them to where they're stable enough to make me happy. I've watched several videos on Koenigsegg car doors opening and closing, and I've run across one or two where when the doors are open, people are touching them or wiping them to clean them, and they have some play in them and move. And although the functionality opening and closing looks very smooth on their doors, I can tell that there's play in the doors when they're open. And if a company like Koenigsegg, which has a team of engineers that designed this door and spent thousands of hours, I've watched videos on the making of this hinge, and this is a $3 million car. If that is the best they can do, I can't hope to do it myself as good. And I don't feel comfortable making them again, and I just don't think the outcome will be good enough to make me happy. So what I'm going to do is remove these hinges. I'm going to go with a hinge up top here, more along the lines of like a Lamborghini Aventador type hinge. But before I can make those, I need to work all of the geometry out on the computer. Not only does the hinge have to function correctly with the door, but the door and the fender have to bypass and miss each other and have clearances everywhere. All of that geometry has to be worked out perfectly correct on the computer before I can even start to manufacture and install those. So I have a lot of computer work to do this weekend and this upcoming week, and hopefully I can get that knocked out and start actually doing some fabricating. But I may spend the entire week on the computer working on the functionality and the placement and everything on this hinge to get it to work correctly. In the meantime, I purchased this. This attaches to the top of this heating and air box here, and then it goes to the vents. It doesn't fit perfectly. I'm going to have to make a little modification to it. It's hitting here on these ribs for my steering column mount, and this is touching behind the panel. It needs to move out slightly. So I'll probably wind up cutting a section out of the middle and either extending it or putting some other shape or size tube to connect this end back over to the center, and then try to work on some mounting tab locations and details. But I'm not going to work on that quite yet. I've had this piece ordered for a few weeks. It just finally came in. I'm not quite ready to work on it, so we'll put that off. I need to get these doors and door hinges working next. I need them to finish the wiring, and Fatah needs them to finish knowing where to cut the body, the fender, and the door apart, and so he can continue designing the body and getting that working and looking correctly. So I guess the doors are next. Right now I'm not positive if I'll post a video next week or not. It just depends on how much work I get finished on these doors and door hinges, and if I'm able to do anything other than computer work. If nothing else, maybe I'll give you a body update from Fatah's, what he's been working on for the last couple of weeks. And anyway, I guess that's going to be about it for this week's video, and I'll see you guys again in 1 week.